day, everyone. We are the group 3.
I am Edward Calago.
I'm Christian Travi.
I'm KL Corbita.
I am Kyle Dali Coronado.
I am Jolyn Ray Barorodago.
I am Ian Zuiti Solomon.
And our topic is all about Rizal's tour in Europe with Viola, 1887, and Rizal back to Calamba from 1887 to 1888. So let's start first about the Rizal's tour in Europe with Viola. So after the publication of Noli, Rizal planned to visit the important places in Europe. So after na-publish ang book nga Noli Me Tangere, nagplano si Rizal nga mubisita sa mga important places in Europe. So Dr. Maximo Viola agreed to be his traveling companion. So si Viola, ga-agree siya nga mag-travel sila ni Rizal sa Europe. So Rizal received Pasiano's remittance of 1,000 pesos, which forward by Juan Luna from Paris, and immediately paid his debt to Viola, which he loaned so that the Noli could be printed. So, si Pasianos daw kuno naghatag og 1,000 pesos iya Rizal nga gikan kay Juan Luna. And then, after niya nadawat ang 1,000 pesos, gabayad siya sa iyang utang kay Viola which is katong nga utang iyang gigamit para pa-print sa Noli Me Tangere nga novel. So, the tour begins. So, May 11, 1887, Rizal and Viola left Berlin. So, sa May 11, sila nagsugod ng ilang kuan. Dara nga time sila ga biyahe. So, they visit first the Potsdam. Potsdam is a city near in Berlin which Frederick the Great made famous. So in Dresden, Rizal and Viola tarried for some times in Dresden. They visited Dr. Adolf Bimier, who was overjoyed to see them. So ilang gi-visit si Dr. Adolf, and si Dr. Adolf is na-overjoyed siya pagkakita kay Rizal o kay Viola. So during this Dresden, they visit Museum of Art, and then na-impress si Rizal by the painting of Prometheus Bound. And then they also meet Dr. Hagor, and Dr. Hagor heard their plan about Litmerits in order to see Blumentritt. So kini si Rizal ug si Viola nagplano sila nga ilang kitaon si Blumentritt. So nakadungog din si Dr. Hagor nga sa about silang plano. So Treshen or Diesel, Czechoslovakia was their next stop over after leaving Dresden. So diri sa Treschen mo ila ang next nga destination up. Yeah. So, di ba nakadungog si Dr. Hagor sa ilang plano nga ilang bisitahon si Blumentritt. So, Dr. Hagor advised to wire Blumentritt because the old professor might be shocked of their visits. So, ilang ga-advise si Dr. Hagor nga Rizal nga dapat kung mo-visit sila Rizal is maghatag sila something kibali bitaw maghatag sila information nga mo-visit sila sa iya Blumentritt. So yeah. Next is the first meeting with Blumentritt. At 1:30 p.m. of May 15, 1887, the train arrived at the railroad station of Litmeritz. So Blumentritt who received their wire, so kibali naghatag biya sila Rizal og information nga mo visit sila, so na-receive na ni Blumentritt. And then si Blumentritt was in the station carrying a pencil sketch of Rizal, which latter had previously sent him so that he could identify his Filipino friend. He warmly received Rizal and Viola. And then the professor helped them to get a room at a hotel Krebs. They stayed Litmeritz from May 13 to 17, 1887.
After visiting Litmerits, Rizal, and Viola visited the historic city of Prague. They carried letters of recommendation from Blumentritt to Dr. Wilhelm, professor in the University of Prague. They visited the tomb of Copernicus, Museum of Natural History, bacteriological laboratory in Cave of San Juan Nepomuceno. After this, they went to Bonn. May 20, 1887, Rizal and Viola arrived in the beautiful place of Vienna, the capital of Austria-Hungary. This city impressed Rizal because of its beautiful buildings, religious images, hunting mountains, and majestic charm. They met Norfenfalls, one of the greatest novelists in that time. They stayed at Hotel Metropole. They visited the city's interesting places such as churches, museum, art galleries, theaters, and public parks. They also met two good friends of Blumentritt. May 25, 1887, Rizal and Viola left on a river boat to see the beautiful sights of the Danube River. As they traveled along the famous river, Rizal observed keenly river sights, the barges loaded with products, the flower and plants growing along the river banks, the boat with families living on them in quiet villages on the riverside. He noticed that the passengers on the riverboat were using paper napkins during meal, which was a novelty to him. His fellow passenger Viola commented that paper napkins were more hygienic and economical than cloth napkins. The river voyage ended in Linz. They traveled overland to Salzburg, and from there to Munich, where they sojourned for a short time to savor the famous Munich beer. From Munich, they went to Nuremberg, one of the oldest cities of Germany. After Munich, they visited the cathedral of this city was the largest and tallest in all Germany. Viola related that he and Rizal climbed its many hundred steps. He rested twice upon reaching the top, while Rizal ascended without resting and was not tired when he reached the top. From they went to Stuttgart, Baden, and then Rainfall.
Crossing the frontier to Switzerland. From rainfall, they crossed the frontier to Schaffhausen, Switzerland. They stayed in the city from June 2 to June 3, 1887. They continued their tour in Basel, Bern, and Louisiana. Geneva. After sightseeing in Louisiana, Rizal and Viola left on a little boat crossing the froggy Lemon Lake to Geneva. The people in Geneva were linguists, speaking French, German, and Italian. Rizal conversed with them in three languages. June 19, 1887. Rizal treated Viola to a blowout. It was his 26th birthday. Rizal and Viola spent 15 delightful days in Geneva. And, and on June 23, 1887, they parted ways. Viola returned to Barcelona while Rizal continued the tour to Italy. Rizal in Italy. From Geneva, Rizal went to Italy. He visited Turin, Milan, Venice, and Florence. June 27, 1887, he reached the Rome, the city of Caesars. He was thrilled by the sights and memories of the eternal city. June 27, 1887, he wrote a letter describing the blueprint, the grandeur that was Rome. Rizal in Italy, June 29, 1887. The feast day of St. Peter and St. Paul. Rizal visited for the first time in the Vatican, the city of the popes, and the capital of Christendom. After a week of wonderful sojourn in Rome, he prepared to return to the Philippines. He had already written to his father that he was coming home.
Decision to return home. So, Nolly and the uproar it caused to anti-Filipino elements. So Rizal was warned by Pasiano, Silvestri, Obaldo, Chingoy, and the other friends not to return home. So gi-advisean si Rizal nga dili sa pabalikon sa ilang lugar kay tungod sa noli murag na something nga mga nagdumot din kay Rizal. There are four reasons why Rizal is eager to go home in the Philippines. So naay mga rason nga nung si Rizal gusto mo diri sa Philippines or dito sa Calamba. First is to operate his mother eye para operahan niya ang mata sa iyang mama. Next, to serve his people who had long been oppressed by Spanish tyrant to find out the effect of knowledge. So, i-find kung unsa ang mga epekto pag after niya na-publish ang Nolin ni Tangere niya nga novel. Last is to find out it while Leonor Rivera had remained silent. He also wrote Blumentritt why he need to go home in the Philippines. So, that's are the reason nga nung gusto kaayo muli si Rizal sa Pilipinas or dito sa iyang hometown nga sa Calamba.
Delightful trip to Manila. Rizal left Rome by train from Marseilles, a French port which he reached without mishap. Si Rizal ko no, ni left siya sa Rome, ni sakay siya sa train sa kuan sa French nga pantala sa nga port dayon nisakay siya nga without unlucky accident. On July 3, 1887, Rizal boarded the steamer Hemna, the same steamer which brought him to Europe 5 years ago. Si Rizal nagboard siya sa katong streamer nga nagdala sa iya sa Europe 5 years ago. Then there was 50 passengers including 4 Englishmen, 2 Germans, 3 Chinese, 2 Japanese, and many Frenchmen. Mo na ang mga kauban pagkuan. Then Rizal was the only passenger who could speak many language, so he acted as interpreter for his companion. Nahimong interpreter si Rizal. Dayon next, delightful trip to Manila, sumpay din. The steamer was en route to the Orient via Suez Canal. The steamer was en route to the Orient via to Suez Canal. Rizal saw this historic canal for the second time. Pangkaduha na niya ni nakita nga agianan nga Suez Canal. Muna siya agianan sa barko. shortcut nga dalan din. The result the first time was when he sailed to Europe from passengers to engage in lively conversation in many language. After leaving Aden, the weather became rough and some of Rizal book got wet. Nangabasa yung libro. Then at Saigon on July 30, 1887, he transferred to another steamer, Haiphong, which was Manila bound. Arrival to Manila. Rizal voyage from Saigon to Manila was pleasant. On August 3, 1887, the moon was full and he slept soundly the whole night. Nagagok ni si Rizal pagtulog. August 6, he arrived in Manila. He disembarked shortly after 9 o'clock that night. He found Manila the same as when he left 5 years ago. Before siya ni Lakaw, 5 years ago, kung unsa ang Manila sa una, mao ra gyapon pagbalik niya. There were the same old churches and buildings, the same hole in the roads, the same boat in the Pasig River, and the same hoary wall surrounding the city. Mao ra gyapon pares-parehas ra gyapon tanan. Happy homecoming. August 8, 2 days after his arrival in Manila, he reached Calamba. Sa August 8, sa pag-travel niya duha ka adlaw, medyo layo-layo gini yang mga pila ni ka kilometers iyang gibiyahe. Ang uno Rizal to Sorsogon man siguro ni. His family welcomed him affectionately with plentiful tears of joy. Pagkakita sa iyang family, nagilaka na or sample the rejoicing of Rizal returned over him family became worried for his safety. Fasciano did not leave him during the first day or after arrival to protect him from enemy assault. Giprotektahan siya ni Kuan basin silon ni sa Rizal. Rizal established a medical clinic in Calamba. His first exploit as a physician was the successful operation of his mother. With surgical skills acquired in the best eye clinic in Europe, he removed a double cataract from Donna Tudora eyes, and the news spread far and wide. They usually call him Dr. Uliman. He opened gymnasium for young folk where he introduced European sport. He tried to divert the interest of his town mates in cockfighting and gambling, introducing to them the sports such as gymnastics, fencing, and shooting. Gito pang ang gikan sa Europe nga mga dula kay ang dula raman sa Pilipinas sa una fighting raman o gambling eh. Pag-abot niya ang katong mga dula sa Europe iyang kuan sa Philippines para makatuon po og mga bagong dula ang kuan mga Pilipino. During his stay in Calamba, he failed to see his beloved Leonor Rivera. He tried to go in the Gupan, but his parents absolutely forbade him. He was caught on the iron grip on the custom of time that marriage must be arranged by the parents of the bride. Groom. Next is the storm over the Nole. As Rizal was peacefully living in Calamba, his enemies plotted his doom. Aside from practicing medicine, attending to his gymnasium, and taking part in the town civic affairs, he painted several beautiful landscapes and translated the German poems of von Wildernat into Tagalog. Um, Rizal painted the landscape, a beautiful landscape in translating to German poems of von into Tagalog. And a few weeks after his arrival, a storm broke over his novel. He received a letter from Governor General of Malacanan named Emilio Terrero, informing him to report immediately in Malacanan because somebody has whispered to him that novel contains subserved ideas. No. After sa pag-arrive ni si Rizal, his novel, he received a letter from Governor General Malacanan named Emilio Terrero, informing that him to report immediately in Malacanan because somebody nag-report about his novel contain of subserved ideas. Rizal went to Manila and reported to the office of Governor General Terrero in Malacanan. The Governor General told to Rizal that charge, but Rizal denied it, explaining that they merely exposed the truth, but he never advocated subserve ideas. The Governor General asked the author for the copy of the Noli, but Rizal had no copy because the only copy he brought home was given to a friend. He promised to secure the one to the Governor General. Um, the Governor General asked Rizal about a copy of his Noli, but Rizal did not brought a copy because it was given to a friend, a promise to secure the governor and governor general. And after that, Rizal visited to Jesuit father to ask for a copy. He sent them, but they would not part with it. Rizal found a copy in the hands of his friend. So, ang kap so si Rizal nakakuha siya copy by his friend. And he was able to get it and gave it to Governor General Terrero. So Terrero, as liberal-minded executive, know that Rizal life was a jeopardy because the friars are powerful. He assigned a young Spanish lieutenant, Don Jose, named Don Jose Tavel de Andrade, for his safety measures. A Dominican Pedro Payo sent a copy of Noli to Father Rector Gregorio Echavarria for examination by a committee of the faculty. The faculty reported that Donnelly was heretical, impious, and scandalous, and the religious order and anti-patriotic, subserv- subversive of public order, injurious to the government of Spain, its function in the Philippine islands, the political order. So the faculty reported that the Noli was contained a heretical, impious, and scandalous in the religious order and patriotic. And next thing is Governor Terrero was dissatisfied with the report of Dominicans, for he know that they are prejudiced and against Rizal. So Governor Terrero was dissatisfied with the report Lakono kay he know that they are prejudiced and against Rizal. He sent the novel of the Permanent Commission of Censorship, which was composed of priests and laymen. The report of the commission was drafted by its head, Fernando Salvador Font Agustin Cora of Tondo. It found that the novel contained subversive ideas against the church and Spain. The attackers of Danoli, uh, the Battle of Danoli took form of a war of words. Father Font printed this report entitled Noli and circulated its copies, believing that his critic of disputed novel would discredit it. Another attackers of Noli is Agustin Agustinian friar Fernando C. Rodriguez published a pamphlet entitled Kaingat Kayo, which attacked Donoli and warned the readers that if they read it, they commit mortal sins, and as much as the said book is full of heresy. And next, the defenders of Donoli. Father Francisco Sanchez Rizal's beloved Jesuit professor depended solely in public. So, Father Francisco Sanchez is Rizal's one of his professor who depended solely in public. The Spanish statesman Don Sigismundo Moret, a former president of the Council of Ministers, read and liked the book very much. And a brilliant defender of knowledge came from an expected source. It was Reverend Vicente Garcia, writing under the pen name Justo Desiderio Magalang, which circulated even Singapore as an appendix to a pamphlet dated July 18, 1888. Rizal and Andrade. Andrade became a great admirer of the man he was ordered to watch and protect. No, so Andrade is one of a great admirer of Rizal, and he was ordered to watch. He was ordered to protect and watch the Rizal's slowly. And what marked Rizal's happy days in Calamba with Andrade were the death of his older sister Olympia. The groundless tales circulate by his enemies that he was a German spy, a Protestant, a Mason, a witch, or a soul beyond salvation.
Columbus Agrarian Trouble. Governor-General Terrero, influenced by certain fact in Noli, ordered a government investigation of the friar's estate, remedy whatever inequalities might have been present in connection in land taxes and with tenant relations. One of the friar estates affected was the Calamba Hacienda, which the Dominicans order owned since 1833. In compliance with Governor General Order dated December 30, 1887, the civil governor of Laguna Province directed the municipal authorities of Calamba to investigate the agrarian condition of their locality. After studying the conditions in Calamba, Rizal wrote down his findings, which the tenants and three of the officials of the hacienda signed. These findings, which were formally submitted to the government for action, were the following. 1. The hacienda of the Dominican order comprised not only the lands around Calamba, but also the town of Calamba. 2. The profits of the Dominican order continually increased because of the arbitrary increase of the rentals paid by the tenants. Number 3. The hacienda owner never contributed a single centavo for the celebration of the town fiesta, for the education of the children, and for the improvement of agriculture. 4. Tenants who had spent much labor in clearing the lands were disposed of the said lands for various reasons. 5. High rates of interest were charged the tenants for delayed payment of rentals, and when the rentals could not be paid, the hacienda management confiscated their carabaos, tools, and homes. Farewell to Calamba. Rizal's exposure of the deplorable conditions of tenancy in Calamba infuriated further his enemies. The friars exerted pressure in Malacanang Palace to escalate him. They asked Governor Terrero to deport Rizal. Anonymous threats against Rizal's life were received at the parents' home in Calamba. One day, Governor Terrero summoned Rizal and advised him to leave the Philippines. Rizal was compelled to leave Calamba for two reasons. First, his presence in Calamba was jeopardizing the safety and happiness of his family and friends. And second one is he could better fight his enemies and serve his country's cause with greater efficacy by writing in foreign countries. A poem for Lipa. Before Rizal left Calamba in 1888, his friend from Lipa requested him to write a poem in commemoration of the town's elevation to a villa or city by virtue of the Visceral Law of 1888. Rizal wrote a poem dedicated to industrious folks of Lipa. The, ti- the poem was titled Himno al Trabajo or Hymn to Labor. He finished it and sent it to Lipa before his departure from Calamba.
And that would be all about our topic, which are the results tour in Europe with Viola in 1887 and about the Rizal back to Calamba. So that thank you. Bye bye guys. Bye bye. Sarah de. Sa kaniyong pa.